Today we're going to be talking about fake friends. And to understand what that truly looks like, we're going to be looking at Natalie Nunn and Miss Scotland Ryan from Baddies. Now, this isn't gossip, this isn't moral judgment, this is behavioural psychology, using what has been shown publicly. Miss Natalie Nunn was born December 26, 1984. She grew up in Concord, California, in the Bay Area. And from a very young age, she described herself as competitive, socially sharp, and athletic. Natalie will always go on about how athletic she is. She attended USC, ran track and field, and entered adulthood already with an understanding about social hierarchy and power dynamics. Natalie did not grow up naive to power. Her public formation begins on the Bad Girls Club.
I like to party. I'm used to the Hollywood level, the nice things, guys to fly me out, guys to buy me stuff.
Now, the Bad Girls Club was a show that was launched on Oxygen where they would take a bunch of self-proclaimed bad girls, throw them all into one house and just allow chaos to ensue. Natalie was 24 when she joined the cast, and her whole brand was, I'm from the Valley, I run LA.
I run LA. I run LA. I run LA.
The show itself, Bad Girls Club, is designed around dominance, social hierarchy, power structures, humiliation, weeding out the weak links, a whole group of people bullying that one weak link and then pushing them out of the house. That was essentially the Bad Girls Club. Power was not about kindness, it was all about positioning yourself as the loudest, the biggest, the baddest, the biggest to ever do it. And Natalie showed throughout Bad Girls Club her ability to assert dominance very quickly.
I'm done. You can just throw it away for me. And she cleaned it up too.
She knew how to command attention, how to convert conflict into relevance, and how to manage not just situations, but people.
I had to knock the bitch in the face.
This matters because Natalie has shown herself to not just participate in dominant space, power, weird structures. she was trained by them. And one of her most effective tools is her persona. Natalie is a shapeshifter. In Bad Girls Club, her persona leaned more into being polished, running LA, how she knows this person, she knows that person.
They told me that Annie didn't buy me a bottle of wine that cost $2 because I wasn't good for $2. Serious right now? A bottle for $2? I'm laughing at you right now.
She was more palatable, coded closer to whiteness. However, on Baddies, the Natalie Nunn that we see today is completely different.
I'm in every city comfortably. Real rich.
Long Beach this, Long Beach that.
She is aggressive, loud, more performatively hard, much more directly confrontational. Yes, this is hypocrisy, but it's also adaptation. Years of reality TV will teach you how to read rooms, how to maintain relevance. And Natalie has had decades of this experience. Now, who's Miss Scotty with the body? Scotland Ryan, also more so known as Scotty with the body, was born February 16th, 1997. She is 28 years old. A good 13 years younger than Natalie. Scotty grew up in North Carolina. It seems that she didn't have as much reality TV. Clearly, she didn't have as much reality TV experience as Natalie. She seemed to grow up as a pretty normal kid, and seemed to keep herself to herself. She grew up with far less exposure to high conflict, media-based environments, and probably didn't know much about public power structures when she met Natalie. She enters Natalie's world younger, less experienced, still forming her identity, but openly quite ambitious and kind and sweet. Scotty is a little sweetheart. Everybody refers to Scotty as a sweetheart, and I believe them. She seems very sweet. But this difference between them, it matters, because while Natalie has years of understanding visibility, dominance, power and control dynamic, and how to control a narrative, Scotty is still learning what those things cost. Before Scotty even appears on Zeus, she is already in Natalie's orbit. According to widely circulated and fan documented timelines, Scotty first made her public appearance on Natalie's adult entertainment content platform, I can't say the name here, I saw those pictures. I saw it, bruv. I saw this is real. I saw it. But what matters here psychologically is the order. Scotty never entered Natalie's world professionally first. She entered as a friend. Intimacy preceded opportunity. They established a bond where access is personal, loyalty is assumed, and boundaries are already blurred. Natalie very quickly began to call Scotty her best friend. And Scotty officially debuted on Baddie's South. By this point, Natalie is already a central figurehead at Zeus. Baddie's South was Natalie's show. She was the creator and she is the executive producer. She holds influence over casting, narrative, and perception. Scotty enters framed as Natalie's girl, her best friend, her ride or die bitch. The audience never met Scotty independently. A lot of the baddies came on the show on Baddie's South as themselves. They were their own person. They came on and it was just them. The way that Scotty was introduced. Yo, this is my bitch Scotty and she runs the South. I run the South. She runs the South. I'm sorry, that shit kills me every time because Scotty's just a little sweetie, a little cutie patootie. My reaction was the same as Krishan.
Make that money. That's all I give a fuck about.
Oh, hell no. Nigga, I don't need you for money.
She is introduced through Natalie, and this quietly locks down hierarchy from day one. Now, pay attention to the way that Natalie uses her words. It sounds very playful. This is my bitch Scotty, she runs the South. However, when you look closely, the language is very coded. Psychologically, it's dual binding. Words hold power. So before you get on here and get into the comment section talking about, oh, you're looking too much into it, no, you need to pay attention because words hold power. Words will affect you psychologically without you even internalizing or realizing that what these people are saying is affecting you, making you feel more loyal to them if you're in Scotty's position. So Natalie says, my bitch, that's ownership, runs the South, that's elevation. Scotty is empowered and diminished at the same time. That contradiction psychologically is what keeps Scotty tethered. There's a moment that occurs at the Baddie's South reunion. Natalie gets her eye injured. I think it was Rolly. I think Rolly got her eye. Yeah, because after that, Natalie was like, you're off my show. And that's another thing. Natalie doesn't hold any real power when it comes to her show anymore. She signed all that shit away, clearly. But her whole image is very dominant. It's, I'm a bad bitch. I'm a boss. I am the boss. And all these girls work for me. So what does it look like for you to be on your show, the show that you created, and have your cast members who are supposed to be beneath you and who are supposed to respect and look up to you attacking you and black in your eye? Like, bitch, you couldn't even, Natalie is not the best fighter. She couldn't even, like, and Rolly's a big girl. I'd kick Rolly in her knee. I'm sorry. But that moment humiliated Natalie. And what does she do? She goes backstage. She turns to Scotty and she begins lashing out. When I move, you move. When I move, you move. From Natalie's perspective, Scotty didn't move fast enough to defend and protect her. She doesn't say, we move together. She doesn't say, I need protection. She doesn't say, Scotty, where were you? I needed you. She doesn't say any of that. She says, when I move, you move. That is a command, not a request. And psychologically, this moment is driven by embarrassment.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Rather than process internally the feelings of shame or anger due to being touched on her own show that she claims she is the boss of and has all creative control over, the shame is instead externalized and Scotty becomes the container for that shame. In frenemy, fake friend relationships, it's always based on a lower and upper power level dynamic. The ones who are perceived as lower are assigned responsibilities. They are assigned protection. They're supposed to be anticipating other people's moves that could hurt the person who is perceived as higher in the friendship. They are supposed to be ready. When those expectations are not met, punishment follows. There's a moment where Natalie is on the tour bus. I think it was Baddies West. I can't remember. There have been so many motherfucking baddies. But I think it was on Baddies West. And Krishan Rock slapped her on the tour bus. It was super packed. There were a bunch of girls and Krishan Rock slapped her. Now, instead of Natalie rolling around in the mud and slapping her back, she instead storms off the bus and goes outside. Slap by Krishan Rock matters. This is someone in Natalie's mind who she mentored, who she put on. Krishan Rock at that time was viewed as beneath Natalie in the social hierarchy. But Krishan was and still is an exceptional fighter. You can tell, oh, it's my life, I had to fight, nigga. You can tell Krishan's been fighting her whole life, bless her. We'll do a video on Krishan Rock one day. I can't right now. Natalie stood no chance. The slap wasn't just personal, it was humiliating. And Natalie cannot retaliate upward. So what does she do? She I was gonna say punch. She slaps downward, fam. Scotty gets off the bus to go and check on her friend because obviously the bus is crowded. There were a bunch of girls. I truly don't believe Scotty really 100% knew what was going on. She comes outside and she's like, oh, let me check on my friend. She goes up to Nat. She's like, Nat, what happened? With her little sweet voice. What happened? Natalie switches immediately. And it's not like the same, it is the same slap that Krishan gave her, but she took it to hell. She's slapping the shit out of Scotty. She's slapping her up and down, left and right. She's slapping her down, bruv. Talking about, no, don't you ever. You know what happens. You know what happened, you silly bitch. Da, 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 da. Just doing the absolute most when poor Scotty just wanted to check on her friend. This is displaced humiliation. Of course, we talk about the slap that Krishan Rock got from Natalie, but the thing that stuck out in our minds the most was the fact that after that slap, she slapped down Scotty. It was a moment where viewers were just like, why she do that to Scotty? Why she humiliate Scotty like that? Because the humiliation was dispersed. Instead of her feeling bad and her feeling awful, she's like, right, let me control the narrative. They're not going to focus on me being slapped by Krishan if I slap the shit out of Scotty and she does absolutely nothing. Bless Scotty, she didn't even try and defend herself. This moment teaches Scotty a few things. 1, care is conditional. You do not approach me unless I tell you it's acceptable to approach me, bitch. Know your place. 2, affection requires permission. 3, if I am hurt, you must absorb the emotional fallout. And this will cause a person to start self-editing. Why does if my friend is treating me like this, I must have done something wrong. Because she never really treats me like this. I must have done something wrong. Which then causes them to change their behaviour and do more to appease and please the friend who is seen as above them in the social power hierarchy or whatever the fuck is going on here, bruv. Now let's pause for a moment and look at what we have purely just from observation. We have long-term dominance hierarchy conditioning between Natalie and Scotty. Natalie commands Scotty but frames it as loyalty. You need to be loyal to me. Natalie did put Scotty on. Before Scotty met Natalie, her life was very different. Scotty now gets to travel the world. She has money, she's got bags, clothes, luxury goods, she's been in luxury vehicles. And that will make you much more accepting of humiliation disguised as affection due to feeling indebted to a person. Natalie did change Scotty's life. That doesn't mean Natalie gets to put her hands on her. This is actually not chaos, it's structure. Natalie knows what she's doing, bruv. And this is how fake friends, false ally, frenemy relationships form quietly, plausibly, and in plain sight. Nothing here looks overtly evil. It looks like mentorship, leadership, loyalty, closeness. But realistically, the psychology underneath this structure, it's insecurity, it's narcissistic traits, and it's status anxiety. That is the bottom line of all of this. When it comes to frenemies, fake friends, and false allies, the bottom, the underlying, the elephant in the room is status anxiety. The fear that the person who perceives themselves as higher in the social hierarchy will be replaced by you. And this is why false allies rarely look like villains. They look like leaders. Now that we've laid the foundation for who Scotland Ryan and Natalie Nunn are, how their relationship began, now we can start to ask the questions. Why does this dynamic exist? Because frenemies, fake friends, they're not random, they're not chaotic, they're very patterned. Those patterns usually start when someone who already has power feels threatened by someone else standing too close to them. Not an enemy, not a stranger, someone within their inner circle. One of the biggest misunderstandings is that insecurity looks like weakness. It doesn't. This kind of insecurity grows when someone has status. It shows up as control, loyalty testing, rule setting, and corrections in your behavior framed as, I'm just giving advice, I'm just trying to help you, I'm your mentor, let me help you. Someone like Natalie, this kind of proximity, it matters. And when someone stands close enough to share attention, comparison becomes undeniable. Natalie and Scotty are both mixed race women, but Natalie is older than Scotty. I feel like Scotty, in Natalie's mind, is the new and improved version of her. And that causes insecurity to wake up. Once the audience responds, insecurity wakes up. And when I say once the audience responds, insecurity wakes up, I'm not just talking about Natalie and Scotty. The audience doesn't have to be the millions of people at home on Zeus or the millions of people online on social media commenting on the dynamic and commenting on the show and commenting on both of the women and comparing them. The audience isn't always the internet. In real life, in normal life, the audience is usually your friend group, the workplace, creative space, your family, your general relationships. Anywhere there are eyes, comparison exists. And when people start responding to you differently, when people start to uplift you and appreciate you, compliment you more, value you more in front of the person who is already status insecure, that shift doesn't go unnoticed. If someone's identity is built on being the most admired, most liked, the most valued in the room, that insecurity is going to wake up as soon as they perceive you to be growing too big to contain. They do not want you to surpass them. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It's just their position feels less certain. And this is important. You may not even intend for it to be like that. You're just trying to live your life and be happy. But displacement doesn't need intention. No one has to be plotting. Scotty very clearly isn't plotting to try and take Natalie's job or take over Natalie's life, yada yada yada. She's not challenging Natalie. She clearly just wants to be her friend and love her. But her existence near Natalie, newer, younger, well received, because Scotty is adored. People think she's such a sweetheart. That is enough. False allies do not fear your failure. In fact, they kind of hope and pray you trip and fall so that they can be there to be like, oh, I told you shouldn't try. And when that fear shows up, control becomes the solution. Sometimes it's not cruelty. Sometimes it's not hatred. It's control. It's the fear of being replaced. And this is where people tend to get uncomfortable. So let's be precise. I am not diagnosing anyone. I am simply describing a pattern of behavior that I have seen from publicly available sources on the internet. And Natalie shows a lot of the narcissistic traits that we see today. Image management, sensitivity to embarrassment, public dominance, externalizing blame, punishing perceived disloyalty, and rewriting narratives to preserve superiority. We've already seen these patterns play out. The reunion correction, when I move, you move. Then the slap, ownership language, my bitch. And obedience framed as loyalty. These aren't isolated moments. These are regulation strategies. These are techniques that Natalie has been using to try and keep Scotty in line. Beneath her, where in Natalie's mind, she must stay and where she belongs. It's a way to restore certainty when control, status, and power feels threatened. When you look at Natalie's public feuds, they matter because of the drama, but because of what they do for her. Public conflicts recenters attention on Natalie. It reasserts her dominance, reframes vulnerability as strength, and it restores hierarchy. When control feels unstable, conflict feels grounding. This is why altercations often follow public embarrassment, criticism, shifts in attention, and new people gaining traction. It's not chaos, drama, blah, 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 blah. It's control through dominance. Noise. So this is the part that people generally misunderstand. They say, well, if Natalie treats Scotty so badly, why does she stay being friends with Natalie? Natalie clearly doesn't like her. They're always arguing, they're always falling out and then becoming friends again and then falling out. What is this? So that question ignores psychology and social conditioning. Scotty stays because access came through Natalie and she's grateful. Opportunity followed intimacy. Natalie's approval is here today and gone tomorrow, which keeps a person chasing, trying to get back to where it was before when you really, really liked me. What did I do then that made you really, really like me? I need to go back to that. And Scotty's loyalty was sometimes rewarded. And it creates a loop, not because Scotty is weak, because care is sometimes punished, sometimes it's not. Approval is a bit unpredictable. And closeness could come at a cost. Frenemies, fake people, they don't trap friends with cruelty. They trap them with inconsistency. One moment super loving, super adorning, super you can do this and you're amazing, da 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 da. And then the next minute, you're not shit, bitch. Don't forget where you came from. They will try to slow your growth. They will blur your confidence.
She had a situation with your man, so it came up.
And they keep you orbiting, stuck in that loop instead of ascending and growing and changing throughout your life, which is exactly what life is all about. We are always changing, whether you like it or not. It's up to you whether you want to change for the better or change for the worse. Those who are in this false friend, frenemy, fake ally dynamic, they don't say, no, you can't do that. They say, maybe not yet. Stay loyal, be patient. I don't know if that's a good idea. Could you really do that? Move when I move. I know best. So when you look at Natalie and Scotty, not emotionally, but structurally, psychologically, pattern is clear. Natalie wants to preserve her power. She wants to neutralize the threat of Scotty, enforce and maintain that hierarchy, and keep affection conditional. Do as I say, do what needs to be done, be there for me, and I will shower you with love and affection and praise. You do anything that steps out of line, you try to grow above me, I will slap you down, bitch.
Scotty, don't start running your mouth unless you go square up with that. You shut the up.
Literally. This exists in friendships, workplaces, families, creative spaces. And in the final section of this video, we are going to talk about how to recognize these false dynamics so you can protect yourself and continue growing and elevating through your life. Anyone who doesn't want to see you grow is not your friend. And they shouldn't be around you. They're slowing you down and halting your process and keeping you stuck to make themselves feel better. And at the end of the day, when you die, when you go, they're not climbing in the grave with you. So don't you dare ever live your life for somebody else, to appease somebody else and make them feel happy and comfortable. That don't make no sense. Why keep yourself stuck to keep someone else comfortable when they would never do that for you? Seeing clearly doesn't make you cold. It gives you clarity so you can continue to move forward and be great and do all the amazing things that I know that you came here to do. It sets you free. There is one more layer of the story that we need to talk about, and I'm going to address it very carefully because, of course, it's a bit touchy. When people look at Natalie and Scotty these days, they'll say, well, Scotty doesn't need Natalie anymore. And on the surface, that does look true. Natalie and Scotty have publicly distanced. We keep seeing a lot of fallouts and a lot of issues and a lot of shots. Mostly Natalie sending shots at poor Scotty on social media. The dynamic has clearly shifted. Scotty has more visibility, more money, more freedom, more access and more status. She's made it. She is now firmly a part of the Zeus ecosystem. I'm pretty sure she's getting her own show, Scotty with the baby. But power sometimes doesn't disappear, it can transfer. There are allegations widely circulated online that Scotty is in /controlling relationship with the Zeus CEO, Lemuel Plummer, aka Mr. Lemon Pepper himself. And to be clear, these are allegations, not proven facts. Everything that I'm saying is alleged. They matter for psychological analysis because of the pattern. Lemmy is her boss. He is the gatekeeper to opportunity. He is the person with the ultimate power over casting, presence, screen time, visibility, contracts. That's him. He is the gateway of opportunity. He is higher, technically, in the hierarchy of social control and power structures. And there have also been long-standing allegations that he engages inappropriately with cast members.
Immediately, like when we got into the conversation, they started trying to pin me and Scotty against each other. They're like, oh my God, no, this is Natalie. She's doing it. She's like, Stunner Girl's so beautiful. She's just gonna be the next star. I didn't know at the time that then they were together. So I'm just sitting at the table like, I'm just peeping the shit out like, what the fuck is they doing? Like, you know? And then when he started chiming in, then I caught on because he was like, yeah, Scotty, you over there mad? Oh, you're mad. And then I looked at her and I was like, it ain't no reason for you to be mad. I was like, girl, I got my own nigga. And I'm like, then he was like, this is one of my bitches. And I was like, okay. And I looked at her and I'm like, so what bitch is you? And then Natalie started laughing. She's like number 4, number 3. So then I looked at was trying to just make her feel hella bad about herself. Like, oh, what are you gonna do, Scotty? There's gonna be so many new girls that are so beautiful, like Stunner Girl, and they're gonna come onto the show. And Natalie is your bottom bitch, and it's time that you admit that. Y'all be fucking. Y'all do. I'm like, it'd be so many raw bitches coming to them auditions and shit. And all the bitches that you pick is all bitches that you are fucking with. Literally, you're casting bitches just to come on the show and fight over your clap-stained ass mini dick, bitch. The fuck are you talking about? And it'd be real bitches like me. It's like, a real bitch like me can only be around some goofy shit like this for, you know, it takes a toll. Like, a real bitch like me can't be around like that.
Again, alleged. But if true, it creates an extreme power imbalance. Now, they are dating, and that is for sure. That is an extreme power imbalance. Imagine you work in an office, and it's a very well-paying office. It's the best paying office in the whole city. Now, you are a secretary and you get paid bands just a secretary. And one day the CEO of this company, of this office that you work for, walks in, he looks at you, takes a liking to you. He's like, do you want to go out for a date? I'm the CEO of this building. Are you going to say no? Or do you want to keep your job, bitch? But this matters psychologically because realistically, it could be replacing one villain with another. It's a pattern. Before, it was Natalie who provided access. It was Natalie taking Scotty on shut-in trips. It was Natalie who was sucking and fucking Scotty. I'm just saying. I also think I think their relationship is interesting because I think it's more of a lust thing. I think Natalie kind of fancies Scotty a lot, and I think she's kind of heartbroken that Lemmy came and took over the role of tricking on Scotty. And I think that's what the biggest issue in their relationship / friendship is.
She don't like me being with Lemmy. She doesn't like that I get to go on trips with him. She don't like that I'm getting like the luxuries with him. She just can't take it. Every time she's going on.
Natalie originally opened the doors. Natalie is the one who gave her the gifts, the bags, the exposure, the luxury. Natalie brought her onto the show. Loyalty was the price. Now, allegedly, that role is filled by Lemmy. Access, protection, and elevation all come through him. And what is the cost? Loyalty. So while Scotty may no longer need Natalie, she isn't truly 100% free. This is the uncomfortable truth about false power dynamics, false ally, frenemies, fake friend dynamics, and what they can get you into. Leaving one controlling relationship does not automatically set you free. It doesn't automatically mean autonomy, especially when the system you work in and belong to itself works through that dependency and that hierarchy. She hasn't exited the hierarchy, Scotty. She's just moved higher within it. She's the CEO of Zeus's girlfriend and now baby mother. She made it. But when power comes with condition and opportunity is tied to personal proximity, control doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. Escaping a false ally does not mean escaping control and abuse dynamics. If the system still requires loyalty and submission for you to move forward. That's why this story matters beyond Natalie and Scotty. This isn't about demonizing people, it's just about recognizing patterns that you can protect yourself. These dynamics don't just exist on Zeus, they exist every day in our real lives. Workplaces, creative industries, school, social groups generally, communities, and families. Families and friendships are like the top ones. In the final section, we're going to talk about discernment, how to recognize false allies in your own life without becoming paranoid or fearful, and how to step back without burning everything down. Clarity isn't cruelty. Remember that. It's simply freedom. It's not about being cruel and being mean and da-da-da-da-da. It's just about maintaining your own personal power and staying free from the controlling behaviours of other people. That's their problem, it's not yours. How to see clearly, protect yourself and move forward. I would like to reiterate that this dynamic is very, very common. It's not rare, it's not extreme, and it doesn't mean you're surrounded by bad people. Most false ally, frenemy, and fake bitch behaviour comes from fragile identity. It's not necessarily always malicious and evil intent, but I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes it is malicious and evil intent. So just keep your eyes peeled. Because even if people don't have malicious intent, that doesn't mean it's harmless. When people hear the word power, they think of CEOs, business leaders, world leaders, politicians, all that good fancy stuff, right? But power exists anywhere where someone has leverage. Power can be popularity, confidence, social influence, money, experience, connections, social authority. If someone can affect the way that you are perceived in a community, in a group, in family, what opportunities you access, and how you feel about yourself, they have power, even if they're just your best friend, or your mum, or your dad. In teenagers, it often looks like who's the most popular, deciding who gets to stay in and out of the social group, being the leader of the friend group. This also exists in adulthood. I thought that shit was over, but no, bro, it goes into adulthood as well. People want to be the leaders of the friend group, which is very bizarre and weird to me, bitch. But in teenagers, it may look like hyping you up privately and then embarrassing you publicly in a huge crowd of people, joking at your expense, then going, oh, it's not that deep, why are you acting like that, don't be upset. Feeling or getting weird or distant when other people compliment you, discouraging you from trying new things, subtly competing with you while pretending to support you. At first it feels like, oh, they care about me, they just want me to be the best version of myself. Or maybe they were having a bad day when they said that thing in front of that group of people that absolutely mortified me. That's not what it is. It's false. It's fake bitch behaviour. If you wouldn't do that to them, why allow them to do that to you? That's the rule that I live by. If you can imagine yourself doing something to someone that they have done to you, get rid of them. You're not in alignment. Let them stay down there with the rest of those people who do that kind of stuff. You got places to be and people to see. Let go of them. When you're an adult, power becomes connection, access, experience, confidence, money, or freedom. Fake bitch behavior might be they'll introduce you into opportunities just to remind you who put you there and got you into that room. They will give you advice that keeps you smaller. They will discourage ambition for your own good. And they will get visibly uncomfortable when you begin to outgrow them. This often gets mistaken for mentorship and leadership. For adults 25 plus, power can hide in workplaces, creative industries, family, long-term friendship. False allies here will stall your growth quietly, withhold information, minimize your wins, reframe your success as luck, and punish your independence with distance or hostility. And when you continue to grow, the behaviour escalates. Subtle control, the advice giving, jokes, the reminders to stay humble. When they don't work or they don't seem to be working and you still continue to grow despite anything that they're saying to you, if you don't shrink, if you don't comply, the behaviour sharpens. We saw this very clearly with Natalie. At first it was verbal dominance, commands framed as loyalty. When I move, you move. That was the soft control. Then the behaviour escalates. She slaps Scotty, slaps her down outside the tour bus for approaching her to check on her to make sure that she was good. That same energy you had for Scotty, you should have had for Christian Rock. Who cares if you lost? There were bare people on that bus. You could have done something. There were bare people between you. You could have done something. That slap wasn't random. It was in retaliation to the weakening of social hierarchy where Natalie feels like she is at top. She is on top. Her insecurity was rising, especially with Christian Rock, someone who she viewed as beneath her, slapping her down. Frenemies don't start off extreme. It becomes extreme when subtler, early tactics fail. Staying in these dynamics can be deeply damaging, not just to your mental health, but to your entire life. Over time, they erode self-trust, distort your self-image. They create anxiety and self-doubt within you. They make you second-guess your own instincts, the instincts that you need to keep you safe, bitch. This is your life, not theirs. When you don't leave, it will affect your life very heavily, way heavier than than maybe that person even intends to. It will stall your confidence and growth. And all of these things, you need confidence to progress in life. You need self-esteem and a good self-image to progress in life. You need to believe in yourself to progress in life. And when these frenemies, fake friends, fake bitch behavior, this fake bitch behavior, it will take it away from you and you will not be able to move forward. That's just how it goes. Especially if you believe that this person loves you, just wants the best for you, if you trust their advice. But behind the scenes, they're giving you poor guidance. They embarrass you in groups, downplay your wins, and they talk behind your back. And this doesn't just hurt you emotionally and psychologically, it will genuinely stall your entire life. So let's get very clear. If someone benefits from you staying beneath them, they undermine you while claiming that they love you, they embarrass you, go out of their way to embarrass you publicly, they advise you to stay small, and they punish your growth with distance, silent treatment, the cold shoulder, that's not your friend, bruv. That's not your fucking friend. That is enemy behavior. Treat them as such.
Always trust everyone to be themselves, but trust in the fact you're succeeding well. I mean, it takes too much energy to not trust someone. Trust a snake to bite you. Right. Trust a lion to laugh. Trust a thief to steal from you. Like, trust them to be them, but know them when you see them.
Ignore everything they say and go based on their actions and patterns of behavior. 3 strikes and you're out. When you leave these false and fake frenemy dynamics, relationships, confidence returns, your clarity sharpens, your nervous system calms, your growth accelerates, and opportunities begin to appear. Not because the world magically changed, but because that resistance was moved. You stop shrinking, you stop explaining yourself, stop managing someone else's insecurity. Take it from me, someone who has managed other people's insecurities almost my entire life. It's long, bruv. It's a waste of time and it stalls your growth. And they don't fucking appreciate it. They don't appreciate it. It makes them happy. In fact, they begin to believe the illusion that you truly are beneath them, which is confusing because if I'm so beneath you, why are you so threatened? That's what you should be asking. They're like that for a reason because they see something within you that you don't even see within yourself, that you are a star. Simple. You cannot carry emotional weight that is not yours. Distance creates momentum in your life. Discernment doesn't mean assuming bad intentions. It doesn't mean cutting everyone off or becoming cold. It means observing behavior over time and accepting and believing it for exactly what it is, not what you wish it to be. Don't make any, if you have to make an excuse in your head for why someone could have done that to you, something that you would never do or say or think about them, get rid of them. Because they knew what they were doing and they did it on purpose. Notice how you feel after interactions with people. Do you feel good? Do you feel whole? Or do you feel smaller? Do you feel weirder? Do you feel uncomfortable? Pay attention to the patterns of behavior that people display to you. And always choose distance over drama. It's okay to not say a word and just dip, bro. Don't say nothing sometimes, just stop talking to them. You don't need confrontation. You don't need proof. You need to trust that little voice, that little feeling in your stomach that says, nah, something about this ain't right, bro. I don't think they really like me. You need to know when people don't really like you so you can continue to move forward in life and not waste years of your life loving and pouring into someone who is actively taking from you and refusing to pour back into you because they want you to stay beneath them. Freedom comes the moment you stop shrinking to protect someone else's fragile identity. Always choose yourself. Clearly, calmly, and without guilt. This is your life, nobody else's. And when you go, they're not climbing in that grave with you, bruv. They're not. If this resonated, don't rush, just notice. Start to pay attention to the way that you feel, to the things that people say, to the way that people treat you. Because awareness is the beginning of safety and freedom. Before you go, thank you very much for staying with me, but if you made it this far, before you go, I want you to hear this very clearly. There is power in everything that you do, in the way that you think, in the way that you feel, in the way that you survive things that would have broken other people. You're not naive for trusting people. You're not stupid for believing that people meant what they said. And you're not weak for loving people deeply. You are smart. You are more than capable. And you are far more aware than you have been led to believe. Sometimes the people who hurt us, most of the time the people who hurt us are not enemies in the way that we'd imagine. Sometimes they love us, but they don't love us correctly. And that love keeps you small. If love embarrasses you, if love quietly undermines your confidence, if love continuously stalls your growth, that isn't true love. Love will let you grow. You get one life, and it's yours, nobody else's. Nobody has the right to tell you how to live your life. As long as you're not hurting anyone, who the fuck are they? Again, unless they're climbing in that grave with you when you go, fuck them, bruv. Your life does not belong to your friends. It does not belong to your family. And it does not belong to someone who needs to feel superior to feel safe. Do not allow anyone, no matter how close they are to you, to define your limits, to shrink your dreams, or tell you who or what you're allowed to become. You are allowed to outgrow rooms. You are allowed to outgrow people. And you are allowed to choose yourself without apology. And you can and could always live a life that feels like freedom, not permission. Thank you so much for watching, and please take care of yourself. Like and subscribe for more.